In early September 2025, an ordinary day at a Hollywood tow yard turned into a nightmare. Workers noticed a foul odor coming from the trunk of a recently impounded Tesla, prompting a call to the Los Angeles Police Department. When officers opened the car's front trunk, they found a body wrapped in a bag, badly decomposed, and even dismembered. Within days, forensic tests confirmed the remains were that of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 15-year-old girl who had been missing for over a year. In a stunning twist, the abandoned Tesla was registered to 20-year-old alternative and indie singer David. So how did a missing teen end up dead in the car of a famous musician? The answer, it seemed, would be far from simple. Welcome to another episode of Fridays with Tony. This week's story is unusual and unsettling, and has yet to be solved. But the investigation is only just beginning. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was, by all accounts, a bright and spirited girl from Lake Elsinore, California. She was in 7th grade and known as a sweet child by neighbors. But behind her smile lay turmoil at home. Celeste had a history of running away, vanishing multiple times in 2024. In fact, her family reported her missing at least 3 times in 2024, and each time she eventually resurfaced. Celeste's first disappearance was on April 5th, 2024, when she was just 13. That spring, she slipped out of her family home and was gone for about a month. A former school teacher later revealed a startling story. Celeste had met an older guy on social media, a rapper in Los Angeles, and he came and got her, bringing her to Hollywood. According to the teacher, police eventually found Celeste in Hollywood and brought her back home, after which she even returned to her middle school class for a time. Celeste didn't remain safe for long, though. She disappeared again in May 2024, just weeks after returning. And this time, she did not come back. For over a year, her family agonized with no answers. They received one chilling anonymous phone call, telling them to stop searching, that Celeste was fine, but nothing more. She was found on September 8th, 2025, one day after turning 15, but she was no longer alive. What they found was a dead body, and the Los Angeles coroner reported that she likely died quite a bit earlier. Based on the condition it was found in, her body had been hidden in the Tesla for an extended period. Celeste's identity was ultimately confirmed through forensic details, including a distinctive tattoo. Despite her young age, she sported a small shh tattoo on her right index finger, the kind you hold up to your lips for silence. But this wasn't just any tattoo. You see, David had the exact same tattoo on his finger. The matching tattoos were eyebrow-raising, though it's worth noting that the design isn't unique. Even stars like Rihanna and Lindsay Lohan have similar shh finger tats. Still, the match hinted at an intimate connection between Celeste and the singer. Online, David maintained an unusually close rapport with fans, streaming often on Twitch and Discord. He treated his fandom like friends, frequently chatting in his Discord server and even bringing fans on his live streams. This constant online presence meant that when news of Celeste's death broke, internet sleuths had an abundance of David's own content to dig through for clues. And dig they did, poring over old videos, lyrics, and social media interactions to discern any link between the singer and the slain teen. David's management insisted he was shocked by the situation and had been informed about what happened, but was still on tour and fully cooperating with authorities. In the summer of 2025, David, now 20, kicked off his Withered World Tour to promote his debut album. He traveled across the U.S. performing concerts in July and August 2025. Notably, David maintained an active online presence while touring, sometimes streaming games like Fortnite during downtime. Fans at shows occasionally noticed a young female in David's orbit, but nothing was fully confirmed. On August 24, 2025, David performed a concert in Silver Spring, Maryland. Viral footage from the show appeared to capture a girl who resembled Celeste watching from a balcony. Observers pointed out the girl's long dark hair and black tank top, similar to Celeste's appearance, and even the clothing she was found in. If it truly was Celeste, it suggests she was alive and possibly accompanying David as recently as late August, just days before her body was found. However, authorities have not confirmed the girl's identity, leaving this sighting as tantalizing but unproven evidence. On September 5, 2025, on a quiet street in the Hollywood Hills, neighbors noticed a white Tesla Model Y that hadn't moved in weeks. In fact, neighbors said the Tesla had been shuffled around the area for about 3 months prior, parked for long stretches, and then occasionally relocated, almost as if someone was trying to avoid notice. By city law, vehicles parked over 72 hours can be towed as abandoned. On September 5th, the Tesla was towed by the city to an official impound lot in Hollywood. On September 8, 2025, tow yard employees, troubled by a putrid odor around the impounded Tesla, called the police. Responding officers opened the trunk and made a gruesome find: a deceased female body, badly decomposed and dismembered, stuffed in a bag. The Tesla's registration came back to David A. Burke of Hempstead, Texas, the real name of singer David. Between then and September 16th, the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division took over the case, treating it as a homicide investigation. On September 17th, the coroner publicly confirmed the victim's identity as Celeste. Cause of death was not immediately determined. The coroner deferred it, pending further tests. Meanwhile, news of the case exploded on social media. David's team canceled his scheduled September 17th concert in Seattle out of respect. Over the next few days, David's remaining U.S. tour dates were canceled, and venues in San Francisco and Los Angeles even preemptively dropped his shows that weekend. The singer's spokesperson issued a statement that David was aware of the situation and fully cooperating with law enforcement. On September 17th, acting on a warrant, LAPD detectives swarm a Hollywood Hills home on Doheny Place, associated with David. This was a rental residence near where the Tesla had been parked. The search lasted roughly 12 hours, and investigators seized various items, including electronics and computers. According to TMZ, forensic specialists even used luminol, a chemical that glows in the presence of blood, throughout the house, searching for any hidden blood evidence. Law enforcement sources hinted that police were specifically looking for signs that Celeste might have been harmed there. The outcome of the luminol tests has not been publicly disclosed, but the very fact that they looked suggests suspicions of foul play inside the home. On September 18th, her relatives released a heartfelt statement via a GoFundMe page, calling Celeste a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend, and expressing their heartbreak. They organized a memorial and vigil in Lake Elsinore, where neighbors gathered to light candles and demand justice for the teen. Celeste's body was officially released back to her family on September 23rd to allow for funeral services. A funeral is scheduled for October 4th, 2025, giving loved ones an opportunity to say goodbye. To date, no arrests have been made, and no official suspect named. The LAPD emphasizes that the case remains open and active. Detectives are exploring all leads, including the nature of Celeste's relationship with David, but are keeping specifics under wraps. Meanwhile, internet sleuths continue to unearth purported evidence from Discord chats to old videos, fueling a multitude of theories that range from plausible to bizarre. One of the strangest conspiracies claims there were actually two different women named Celeste connected to David. This theory went viral after a TikTok video asserted that David had replaced the young Celeste with an older doppelganger. According to the video, the first Celeste is 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, but the second Celeste, the video claims, is a 23-year-old woman named Celeste Herrera, who not only shares a similar name, but supposedly bears an uncanny resemblance to the younger Celeste. Celeste Herrera does exist. David follows a private Instagram account by that name, and she's interacted with him on social media. Internet sleuths noted David followed two accounts named Celeste. One is Celeste Yim, and the other is @Celeste Herrera. When rumors flew that this might be Celeste, Herrera updated her bio to say, "Different Celeste," to end the confusion. The conspiracy video spun a dark narrative that David was obsessed with the teen Celeste, and after something terrible happened to her, he sought out an older substitute in Celeste Herrera. It even ominously questioned if the second Celeste was safe now. On forums, some of David's defenders posited that if he was involved with Celeste, perhaps she lied about her age, telling him that she was older. Indeed, some supporters claim David thought Celeste was 19. It's an attempt to frame any relationship as a possible misunderstanding rather than an intentional wrongdoing. However, skeptics find this hard to believe. Celeste was in middle school when they met and looked young in photos. Unless she had a fake ID or online persona claiming to be an adult, David likely knew she was underage. The "she lied about her age" narrative remains purely speculative. Police have not commented on it, and no evidence has confirmed that Celeste pretended to be older. But perhaps the most explosive theory is that Celeste was pregnant with David's child at the time of her death. This originated from leaked screenshots of an alleged Discord conversation and unreleased song lyrics. According to multiple private posts, someone hacked into David's private Discord server or iCloud and leaked messages in which David discussed a baby on the way with a girl named Celeste. One screenshot purportedly showed a Discord user named Celeste with a profile pic of a David tattoo on her finger, wearing a diamond ring, while David allegedly wrote that he had a baby coming with her. This user account disappeared soon after, adding to the intrigue. Another clue fanning the flames was an unreleased David song that leaked. In a snippet of lyrics shared on social media, David sings, "I thought that you said that you didn't want no kids, and then you lied to my face and say it is what it is." To many, this sounded like a reference to an unplanned pregnancy. Combine that with Celeste's age and prolonged disappearance, and the theory emerges that Celeste might have gotten pregnant around 14 and that this created a crisis. However, none of this is confirmed by official sources. The Economic Times noted that while these pregnancy questions are swirling online, there is no confirmed evidence that Celeste was pregnant. As of late September, the autopsy results haven't been released, so if she were pregnant, only the coroner would know. An offshoot of the pregnancy theory led to another disturbing rumor. In late September, posts on X, Reddit, and TikTok began claiming that infant remains had been found near David's residence, implying that Celeste might have given birth and that the baby met a grim fate. This rumor spread rapidly, but it is completely unsubstantiated. In fact, fact-checkers quickly shot it down. The claim is false, as there are no reports of infant remains being discovered at David's home. The rumors of Celeste Rivas being pregnant are also unverified. The hoax originated from a user on X who strung together a sensational 24 hours update of the case, mixing real tidbits with fabricated ones. Many netizens were furious at the disinformation, blasting the hoaxer for using a tragedy to chase clout. As one commenter put it, "All this fake made-up shit will taint the F out of this case. You're using her death as some sick form of entertainment." Beyond the pregnancy hints, sleuths have combed through David's music for parallels to the crime. On September 22nd, controversial hip-hop commentator DJ Academics posted a video of David performing an unreleased track at a past show. In it, David sings chilling lines. "I got time to kill. We got blood to spill. All over the new car seats that I'm sleeping on." And later, "You're not speaking, but you're bleeding out." Academics confirmed the clip's authenticity, meaning this was genuinely one of David's songs that he had performed live before. The timing of its resurfacing could not be worse for David. Lyrics about spilling blood on car seats in a story where a girl's blood was likely spilled in his car make for an eerie coincidence. Of course, musicians often write fictional or exaggerated narratives, especially in emo or alternative genres. By itself, a song isn't proof of any crime, but to an already suspicious public, it read like a confession in code. Online, people speculated whether this unreleased song was written after Celeste's death, perhaps betraying knowledge of the crime. However, it seems the song predated the discovery, so if anything, it's a dark coincidence, or at most, inspired by earlier experiences. There's no evidence David literally harmed anyone when he wrote those lyrics, but it added fuel to the fire of conspiracy. Some think he was hiding in plain sight by singing about it. Plus, the circulating concert video from Maryland on August 24th raised the possibility that Celeste might have been traveling with David on tour shortly before her death. TMZ reported that investigators were aware of the video and would treat it as a potential lead in establishing a timeline. However, her identity in the video remains unconfirmed by authorities. Friends or fans who know Celeste's appearance have debated the footage intensely online. Some say the girl's face is never clear enough to be positive. Others point out the odds of someone else having the same build, hair, and clothes are slim. The timing also aligns. David had an East Coast swing of his tour in late August, then returned to Los Angeles in early September. If Celeste was with him out of state and then came back to LA, something fatal could have occurred upon their return. Again, this is conjecture, but it's one of the more plausible theories if the video is authentic. It paints a scenario where Celeste was secretly accompanying David on the road, perhaps as an underage girlfriend or even an assistant, until whatever tragedy befell her. Celeste's one-time middle school teacher inadvertently added significant fuel to the fire. He claimed that after Celeste returned and then disappeared again in May 2024, his students told him that the artist David was being blackmailed. That word opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. It suggests that someone, perhaps a friend of Celeste's or an associate who knew of the illicit relationship, might have been extorting David. If true, David could potentially be a victim of extortion or a pawn in someone else's crime. Some wonder if the blackmailer could have harmed Celeste, either accidentally or intentionally, and stashed her body in David's car to frame him out of panic. This is speculative, but not impossible. The teacher's account is unverified by police, but attorneys say if investigators corroborate that David indeed took a 13-year-old runaway, there could be serious implications. Legal expert Niyama Ramani noted that simply being in the presence of a 13-year-old runaway isn't a crime, but if there's any sexual activity, force, or coercion that could be kidnapping, rape, trafficking, in other words, David could face charges unrelated to the death itself if that 2024 rendezvous is confirmed and was inappropriate. Another lawyer, former prosecutor Dmitry Gorin, cautioned that despite all the smoke, I have not seen anything reported in the media that he was responsible for her death. Gorin even floated a defense scenario. Perhaps Celeste had access to David's car while he was away, and somebody else harmed her and put her in the car. In his view, it's conceivable David was uninvolved in the killing, implying the real perpetrator could be another person altogether. This aligns with the blackmail idea or another unknown suspect. David's own online community has not been spared scrutiny. Users claim that an anonymous hacker breached David's iCloud and leaked private content. A popular Twitch streamer, XQC, pointed out an eerie find. David had released songs on Celeste's 12th and 13th birthdays, September 7th, 2022, and 2023. It's unclear which songs those were. Some say one was Romantic Homicide, but that actually came out in July 2022. So perhaps other tracks or demos were dropped on those dates. If true, It's a strange coincidence that has not gone unnoticed. Was David subliminally commemorating her birthdays with song releases? Or is it pure chance? We can't verify that claim fully, but it's part of the lore now. Additionally, glimpses of David's Discord server chats were leaked. One major point of interest is a statement his Discord moderators released on September 19, 2025, after the news broke. They asserted they didn't know Celeste's age or that she was missing. The mods said Celeste was not active on the server and only popped up on 2 of David's live streams. They claimed they had little interaction with her and assumed she was 18 or 19 like many in David's community. This is telling. It implies Celeste did appear on David's streams and that at least some others in the community were aware of a Celeste hanging around him online. But apparently no one realized she was a minor or a missing person. Indeed, one of the most disturbing recovered clips came from that January 11th, 2024 Twitch stream. In it, David is on camera with a young girl believed to be Celeste. At one point, he cautions her not to say anything controversial. She chillingly responds, "Is raping kids considered controversial?"
That's controversial.
It's controversial of raping kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes.
The chat erupts in shock, some making Epstein jokes, while a flustered David immediately tells his mods to delete the stream and any recorded clips. This single moment, if authentic, is extremely damning in the public eye. Why would a 14-year-old girl casually mention raping kids on a live stream with an adult man? Was it a dark in-joke hinting at their own situation? Or just a teenager's horribly misguided attempt at edgy humor? Either way, David's panicked reaction suggests he knew it looked bad. But internet sleuths haven't stopped at the obvious. They are scrutinizing every artifact of David's life for meaning. One viral tweet noted that David's van had CLES on the license plate, interpreting it as a reference to Celeste. Another claim was that David and Celeste shared a Spotify playlist, recently uncovered by fans. If they curated music together, it hints at the closeness of their bond. And in a somewhat trivial note, some fans tracked David's gaming activity and found he was online playing Fortnite in the days after Celeste's body was found. To critics, this suggested disturbing nonchalance. To others, it was just someone trying to distract themselves. These little receipts, while not groundbreaking, show how deeply interested the online community is. They're literally checking what video games he's playing while under investigation. In the midst of all this conjecture, another update arrived on September 26th. TMZ senior producer Charlie Naff reported that she had conducted several interviews with friends of David in the LA music scene, and what they had to share seems to further solidify the connection between the singer and the murder victim. The friends she interviewed claimed to know David very well, and though they did not know Celeste as well, they said that she would often be seen out with him. They reported her accompanying David to LA music scene parties and also hanging out after recording sessions. These friends told Naff that it appeared to them that Celeste and the singer were romantically involved. When questioned if they were concerned by her apparent age, they told her that Celeste had claimed to be a 19-year-old college student attending USC, and she was often with David at events and venues with age restrictions for entry. In Celeste's hometown, grief and anger intermingle. At a candlelight vigil in Lake Elsinore, mourners held signs reading "Justice for Celeste" and shared memories of a lively girl who loved dancing and dreamed of her future. Her family is devastated, and their heartbreak has been magnified by the lurid nature of her death and the public scrutiny that followed. She deserves justice, friends and neighbors insist, struggling to comprehend how Celeste's life ended in such a horrific way. Local residents who initially assumed the repeatedly missing girl had simply run away for teenage adventures are now shaken by the reality that a predator may have been involved right under their noses. For David, the professional fallout was swift. Within days of being linked to the case, he began losing opportunities. The shoe brand Crocs and clothing retailer Hollister both dropped him from marketing campaigns almost immediately. In fact, David had just been announced as the face of a Hollister Dream Drop collab, and while the products were released, his face was literally cropped out of the photos in the wake of the scandal. Fellow artists have also distanced themselves. Notably, singer Kali Uchis pulled their collaborative song Crashing from streaming platforms after Celeste's body was found in his car. It appears no one in the industry wants to be associated with David right now, at least until he's cleared of suspicion. David's own actions have been somewhat contradictory. He maintained silence publicly, yet initially he attempted to continue performing until venues started canceling shows. By September 21st, he formally canceled the remainder of his US tour, and it's reported even his upcoming European tour dates were halted so he can cooperate with the investigation. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is sharply divided. On one side are those who believe David is guilty of grooming or even killing Celeste. On the other side are David's loyal fans and some skeptics who caution that we have yet to see proof that he committed any crime. They argue that much of the evidence is circumstantial or speculative. These supporters highlight that David has not been named a suspect or a person of interest by the LAPD. The truth could be that David made terrible decisions, befriending or dating a minor, but did not actually kill anyone. And that possibility means he too deserves a fair investigation. Investigators are playing it close to the vest. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald declined to share details, simply saying they have a lot of resources dedicated and are looking at all associated issues, including the rumored relationship, as they would in any homicide probe. Police have confirmed that the case is being handled as a homicide for now, though officially they await autopsy results to determine the cause of death. If the autopsy finds evidence of homicide, the pressure will mount to find a suspect. If it finds something inconclusive, or like an overdose, for example, the case could take a different turn. Yet, interestingly, the notoriety has also boosted David's fame in a morbid way. His music streams skyrocketed amid the controversy as curious listeners checked out the song Romantic Homicide and others to hunt for clues or simply out of intrigue. On September 21st, David had his biggest day ever on Spotify, 12.1 million streams in 24 hours, and his monthly listener count jumped to 33 million, a huge increase. He gained tens of thousands of followers on social media in days. It seems the scandal made him even more infamous, proving that there is no such thing as bad publicity. This fact has not gone unnoticed, with some cynics musing that if he escapes legal consequences, David will have a larger audience than ever, though likely a very changed one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on another Fridays with Tony. Take care.